Before we did single session at Headspace Collingwood, the process for a young person to access the service would be to refer and wait for an intake call, which could take up to 10 days. After that intake call, they would move towards what we called a heads assessment, which was a quite thorough psychosocial assessment, could go up to an hour and a half. And the average wait time for that was 40 days. After that, young people would get allocated to what we call a stream of block counselling. At Headspace Collingwood, we have a number of streams. And the wait time, again, would be another 40 days. So before single session, young people were waiting up to 85 days to have their first session of counselling, which focused on what they wanted to talk about. Management and leadership just felt that that was too long. An example we often think about is a young person who might reach out to Headspace being stressed about school or exams or something coming up for them. And by the time they actually got to see a counsellor, maybe that situation's passed and they've lost the momentum to get some tools. As an early intervention service like Headspace is, it's really important that we're being able to get people and meet them where they're at when they need it. And be able to give them some of those really helpful tools to be able to tackle life's challenges. We also know that from the research, the most common number of sessions that someone will do in their lifetime is one. So wasting that only session that they might have with a mental health service on an assessment not only is not trauma informed, it's also not a good outcome for the young person.
What we offer is what we call like a one-off session, and it's a counselling session that goes anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes. Obviously, with all young people that come to Headspace, we're guided by them, so it's really up to them what they bring to the space. What we encourage in the single session approach is that if this was their only counselling session, what are some things they really want to focus on and address? So, I mean, each session looks different for different people, but a general guide is spending maybe the first half of the session working with the young person around finding a focus, and that can take a little while to tease out. And then if we get to a focus, maybe that second part of the session could look like a bit more about problem-solving, solution-focused work, where the young person has an opportunity to share what's worked for them in the past. And then the clinician can also share their perspectives and impressions and maybe things that could be helpful for what they're experiencing. So, an example is if someone wants to talk about anxiety and they're feeling socially anxious, we might unpack that a bit more and then sharing some ideas about what might be helpful to combat social anxiety. The end of the session then might look a bit like the young person writing down some key takeaways. So then they'll sort of, think about some key takeaways, and in 2 weeks after that, we would then check in again just to see how things are going, see how it's all landed, which can then lead to more support, or for some people, that might be enough for now.
I think the implementation of the single sessions at Headspace Collingwood I thought it went quite well. When, management first or leadership approached us at the beginning to share that was something that they wanted to get started with here, I think a lot of us felt quite nervous. But there was a lot of conversations around why they wanted to implement single sessions, and a lot of the rationale was around wait lists and really reducing wait times, and also giving young people the best first occasion of service as well. So in terms of implementing it within the centre, everyone within the team did do the single session thinking training through Bouverie, which occurred maybe a few months before the implementation of single sessions within the centre, and there was a lot of open communication from leadership to our access team about getting started with it. We'd have a lot of, conversations within our team meetings, which occur fortnightly about it. A few of us, after doing the training, would give it a bit of we gave it a trial initially, just to see how it would go, and then beginning of January last year, we were like, okay, cool, we're doing this, and it became essentially the first occasion of service for every young person here at Headspace Collingwood. I think it felt quite nerve-wracking starting, but as we got more comfortable with the process and with doing the work with young people, and we were seeing, we had a lot of good feedback. There were really good outcomes. Our wait times really reduced, and a lot of young people seemed to really like, I guess, that kind of model. They liked getting something out of the first session rather than kind of doing this lengthy assessment and then having to wait for us to tell them what we were going to do next. It seems to promote a lot of collaboration as well between staff and the young people, which I think I really like, because I guess young people have a lot of autonomy and they are the experts in their own lives as well, and it seems to really kind of promote that in the sessions.
After single session in 2025, after we implemented it, young people would refer. Their first intake call was often around the 8-day mark. And then after that, their first counselling session or their first single session would be at 28 days. This is a reduction from having your first counselling session at 80 days down to 28 days. It also supported our wait times for people to access block counselling, went down from 85 days to 65 days. So across the board, our wait times have reduced and young people get to access a piece of service quicker. We've had a really positive feedback from young people that they enjoy the sessions and they like that they can contact us when they need for what they need. A young person could choose to just come for one single session, not want to do further counselling, and then call us back a couple of months later if something's come up to do another single session. So one, we're more led by the young people, and some things young people have told us is, a young person has said, I was really happy with how easy the session was to access. Another feedback from a young person was that today's session was incredibly positive. I'm glad a resource such as Headspace is easily available to me. And we've also heard that young people have said clinicians were able to work on what they wanted to work on, really making sure we're including young people in decisions about their care and what they want from our service.